All right, I wanted to share with you guys something that I've been up to. I've been building this website for a client of mine called Exceptional Comfort Services. It's Steven and his wife Angel own this company out of Pickens, South Carolina. And you might have seen a little while ago, I posted a post on Facebook that said I would build a website for 500 bucks for 10 pages. And he took me up on this offer. And so Steven's fantastic guy. Met him. We're definitely individuals, same vibe, same spirit. And we connected instantly. And I built way more than a $500 website, but love him and Angel. And I just wanted to bless them with a great website because they started out with something a lot crappier. Take a look at it. So this is their HVAC website, and this was done by Housecall Pro. It's a templated website, just like a lot of what you would get from a Service Titan or from a Housecall Pro or a Jobber, as like the kind of boilerplate templated version of an HVAC website. And as you can see, we've got nothing but stock photos on here. We've got their logo up here in the left corner. This is clearly a template. We got stock photos here. We've got technicians that don't look like technicians. We're on the About Us page right now, but you can see it. No HVAC technician has ever looked like this with goggles on and that kind of thing, right? None of you guys look like this. None of you home service experts look like this, really. You could tell it's boilerplate. You could tell it's templated. You could tell it has no personality or any branding to it that is actually applicable to Exceptional Comfort Services. Because when I got to know Steven and his wife, Angel, they are fantastic people. Heart of the nation type people that are generous and have soul and passion and want to build a family business. And I would imagine that a lot of you are like that too. And it's really hard to get a website that actually encapsulates that. So you could see very templated, like most HVAC websites, big banners with stock photography in it, really just like boilerplate copy and content on the site that's sort of SEO optimized with some keywords, but it's the same content everywhere. If you look at these service pages, we got Easley, Liberty, Greenville. They all have the exact identical content on all the pages here. Right? See, maintain consistent indoor temperature, crucial for both comfort and energy efficiency. Let's go to Greenville, see if it's any different. And it's not. Consistent indoor temperature is crucial for both comfort and energy efficiency, right? So this is never going to rank on SEO either. Right? This is never going to rank on Google because it's duplicate content. And the site is it's just too template, and it shows nothing about who they actually are. Now let's contrast that with the one that we built for them, right? We built a site that encapsulates their business and encapsulates their soul. And I think this is one of the things that you as a business owner need to understand, is that a website, every one of them is not created equal. And the vast majority of websites, even of bigger players in the market, like big HVAC companies, big roofers, often are still boilerplate and just templated. They can just pay for a nicer design that kind of puts, like a piece of crap in a box, right? Like in a really nicely designed, aesthetically pleasing box. But it doesn't capture the soul of the company and doesn't actually have any sort of human connection or human in it actually at all. And that's what this site really is. We built a site that is revolving around Steven and Angel and their business that they built from the ground up, and they just started in October. And this website is representative of a much bigger company that has a lot more going on for it. But the aesthetic of this matches exactly their logo, right? He told me the colors that he wanted to go with and kind of what the vibe he was going for. And so we built a website around all of that. And on top of that, we built a whole knowledge base out of Steven and his business and a conversation that we had. It was a 2-hour long conversation. And it's really important that you start your brand with this before you ever build a website. And most companies do not do this. I don't care if they're a big agency or not. They do not start their process with really any sort of actual deep research of the company whatsoever. You probably have gone through this if you built a website, but they put you through a big long onboarding form that you fill out that has a bunch of fields in it, which I had him do for certain vital things like license numbers and memberships and Better Business Bureau and all those different things. But you can't get the soul of a human and the way that they do business and why they started their business by having them fill out a stinking form. That's ridiculous, right? So what we did is I have a certain questionnaire where we go through a conversation and I ask them questions and I record the whole thing. And by the end of it, it was a 24,000 word transcript that I will then feed into AI. And I have a skill that breaks that entire process and that conversation down into what we call a knowledge base. Now, if I were to go through that with you, it breaks everything out. We talk about their services. We talk about their trust signals. We talk about their story, which is his origin story here, where he came from, how he got into the trade, the decision to change everything, the founding of ECS, right? How he broke out and did his own company and why. Angel, his wife, his partner, what she actually does, how she's the second hand man and she's his right hand and is the brain of the operation in a lot of ways. The kids in the future, he wants a family business. He wants his son and his daughter to come work for them, and he wants to keep that core family value and be hands-on involved in the business while he builds something beautiful, right? We've got all of his services, but the crazy thing is here is that we can build the services with his entire story and everything already in those service pages, which is unique, and I've never seen that in any other HVAC company's website, and I'll show you what I mean in a minute. But how we do that is we develop a voice profile where we actually have this transcript evaluated from the standpoint of who Steven is, how he talks, his core promise, the felt sense that customers should walk away with, the tone profile, which breaks down what it sounds like and what type of tones that he talks in different ways that he's speaking, his sentence rhythm and structure. So he mixes compound sentences with short hits. He actually talks with certain vocabulary he does say and what he doesn't say. We also have phrasing and examples from how he actually talks that we use to actually write content in his voice. Then we also have things like he tells stories over making statements, right? He likes to talk about what he did and give an example of what he did rather than tell me what he does, right? And then where the fire shows up, right? What he's passionate about, what he doesn't like, what he doesn't want to talk about. And then we have different voices for different types of pages, and it's broken down in that way. And that gives us the ability to write pages that have all of that information from his specific story, from his current customer stories, which we also capture. Right, because I ask him questions that revolve around memories of customer interactions that he had, excellent service that he provided, outliers that were like sort of him going above and beyond. So we have a bunch of different types of stories that he told me and that Angel told me on that phone call that were all captured in here. And every one of these stories will be integrated into the website in a page that is specific to that page, that backs up that page or strengthens that page and that content, right? So we build this whole thing out to have the right foundation to actually build the website. Now, what we actually started with was this strategy report here. And the strategy report is us doing an SEO analysis of the area that he's in, looking at the 3 biggest competitors, what they rank for, what they're strong in, and what they're weak in. And the hope is here that we find this sort of hidden gem of what he can go after without having to compete with the biggest players in the market since he's new, right? And this is key. If you're having a new website launched, you want to find the low-hanging fruit of the things that the bigger guys in your market that you could never compete with right away are actually not going after that could be quick wins for you. And that's what we did here, and that's how we based the 11 initial pages that we created. And I built more than that when we started out because I just thought we needed these specific pages and didn't want him to go without them. But we had a strategy for coming up with the actual content that we wrote before we ever put pen to paper. And this is the result of that, right? We've got a website here that is built around them. And I just want to show you the about page first because it really illustrates this. As you can see, Angel and Steven are in the header. You're connecting with the people right away, not the business, not with some stock photo of some guy in some shirt and helmet with goggles trying to fix an AC that was clearly taken by a professional photographer for the purpose of letting everybody use that image. We actually we got a picture of him and his wife, right? We've got a story here of him growing up and he didn't plan to run an HVAC company and he got a job with his cousin at a place called East Coast Air. And this is him when he was a young buck, when he just started out. And then he figured out, dude, this is definitely for me. We've got a little timeline here that we built dynamically to show the kind of progression through his career that got him to the place where he built his business and launched it. We got a picture of him driving to Columbia a couple of hours away to pick up his license for his HVAC business. Another picture of him and Angel and talking about the real family stands behind every job and talks about the family business mentality and an example of him being in a restaurant where he's up on a ladder and he's roping buckets down to Angel while she's dumping them out in the sink, right? So real customer stories, real actual experiences from the company that exhibit how they do business together as a family. And then we've got pictures of all the individual family members and what they do. And just this is a whole story on this page that builds trust and builds connection before the person ever actually wants to do business. And this is what actually makes them want to do business with you if you're an HVAC company, is they want to talk to people. people. A human is going to come into their house to give them that estimate for that new system. A human is going to show up to their door to do the service and the repair on their system. They don't want to feel like it's a big company. They want to know the person that's coming in to talk to them and take care of them and who they're going to talk to when they call. And that was the goal of building this website, was to embed it, as you can see, with other stories and pull quotes from Steven himself. Also quotes from the stories that he has out of that knowledge base. As you can see, this is one of those stories. Here's another one. Here's another example of that. These are direct quotes from Steven himself. And then we've got a closing note on the About page with linking inside the site that is cross-linking into other pages on the site based on keywords that we want them to rank for, okay? Internal linking is really important. Now, some other cool things on this website that are to note is we built some custom stuff here on this page for the AC installation here. As you can see down here, there's this calculator that we built here that if somebody was looking to figure out whether they should repair or replace their system, there's a commonly used formula across the industry in HVAC where you take two numbers, the age of their current system, and you multiply that number, which it's 10 years for in this case here, times the last repair quote of $600. And if it comes out above $5,000, which is the $5,000 rule, then it's better to put that investment towards a replacement because likely those repairs are going to continue, and you could just put that money towards replacing the system and not have to worry about those continuous repairs and downtime and all of that. So we built an interactive calculator where a customer can come in here, interact, put in the age of their system, when their last repair was and how much it was, and then see whether or not they should repair or replace. A little bit of interactivity, but it gives the customer a way of determining and self-diagnosing that they might need that replacement before they ever move further in the page. Down here, we have an illustration of what an oversized system looks like, where if it cycles on and off too many times, that does a couple of things. Makes the house not a consistent temperature, consistent humidity, especially in humid areas, and also makes the system break down earlier because turning it on and off too many times cycles it too many times, and that reduces the longevity of the system and it makes it less efficient. And what it should look like is the right size system here is a steady run time that pulls the humidity out and the unit lasts longer because it's not power cycling too often to degrade the length of the health of that system. Just another little example. Another one was an example of an illustration of when they install a new system. Part of the process is this brazing with nitrogen of the specific refrigerant tube. And what happens here is you have all of this soot that ends up piling up on this TRX screen here that clogs it. And he went out to a call where another HVAC company had given a diagnosis of the problem, which was a really expensive fix. He went out there and found out that they didn't braze it with nitrogen, which caused this buildup on this TRX screen, which they could just replace that screen, and figured out that, and also knew that if you did braze that with nitrogen, then you don't have that buildup of soot. So we have an illustration here that kind of shows the expertise that this company has and educates the customer on that. Builds authority, builds trust, right? And then some other things that show like essential, like the types of system, like the level of efficiency and how much they're going to cost to run versus the higher efficiency to the lower efficiency. So little things like that build trust and are just different than a regular HVAC company website. Of course, we got FAQs at the bottom of every page. We also have a request for service pop-up here. That's a multi-step form that allows somebody to fill out that form, and it sends a text message alert and an email to Angel and Steven and anyone else that we want to in order to make sure that they get speed to lead. And we have that form embedded in the bottom of the page here. Now, another thing that's interesting to look at here is the service area pages. So if you look at the service area pages, most of the time, like that other site you saw, all the content is the same on every single page. That's not how you want it to be. It needs to be feeling like the person from that area is reading something about their own area so that this company looks authoritative to them and like they know what that specific area is like. So it also needs to be rich in educational content on that specific service. So HVAC, if it's AC repair and replacement here, we've got educational content here that talks about that. Also links off to other pages that are applicable, and then also gives some specific bullet points and some process-oriented things to set expectations about how they work and why they do what they do, right? And then we've also got another call out here that shows him with his license again. We want to get as many faces of the people involved in the company on the site as possible, because the more that is, the more that somebody is actually going to be connecting with that business owner as they go through the site, right? We want them to feel connected to the company before they ever make contact. And down here, all of these service maps for every single page are just like this. We've got an interactive map that we built off of the Google Maps API. and it has interactive bubbles that when you click, you can actually launch that service and repair, that request for service form right at the top here, or by clicking a button out of any of these little pins. Right? Which makes that map interactive and increases conversion, because now we have another place that they can call to action. And again, another call to action at the bottom. We always close with that form, and we set expectations about what's going to happen in that form. So a lot of great things in this website, but the main thing here is that every single page represents their company. It's pictures of their actual work, right? Pictures of their systems that they installed. Pictures that are showing the actual, we used AI for a few different images, but as you can see, we've got a lot of stuff in here that is very interactive and educational, and pictures of their actual work again. And then we've got some other stuff in here that it just really builds that trust and kind of is just the small focus that really takes it to another level and really builds that value and is clearly communicating things and building that trust. One other area here is their maintenance plans page. We've got specific maintenance plans outlined with very clear details on what's included. We also educate them on everything we do written out before cooling season, before heating season, so that you can see clearly what you need. And then down here, we've got sort of the broken out maintenance packages, what they cover and all the details and what they don't cover, to be very clear. And that's something that you don't see very often on HVAC websites, is this sort of clarity and easy to scan, understand information about those packages that are available. So that's another thing that we did. So as you can see, there's reviews on every single page. There's FAQs on every single page. There's actual Google reviews on every single page. And little things like this 87 5-star reviews, this is based on the actual number of reviews that they have on their Google profile. So if this goes up to 89, this updates in real time to be 89. So everywhere throughout the site that's referenced how many reviews they have, that will continue to grow, and it never has to be updated. So this is what the difference between a fantastic HVAC website, and I'm not the one that says it was fantastic. It was actually Steven, the owner of this business. He told me on the last call that we had that this was the best HVAC website that he's ever seen or ever come across. And I just love to hear that from him, because it feels to me like he was seen and he was understood, and he knew, and I really captured what it was that he wanted to show with his brand. And he's proud, and it represents him well, and it's high converting, and it's going to rank, and it's built on good competitive research and analysis of the market. And this can be done for you too. And so just wanted to give you guys an example of what a template boilerplate website that you could pay for to get designed, and many of you have, and what it could be like for you if you had the right person and the right process to help you build the right thing to represent your brand and your company. If you have any questions about this, or you want to have a conversation about what this could look like for you, we've got really affordable packages for sites like this that can be the exact same kind of process that we go through with every client, and can get you a high converting, a really great ranking website that will generate you leads and represent your brand better, establish authority and trust in the market, and really just help you take it to another level with your brand. And I think that's the main thing, is we want to build trust, and we want to build authority in the market with our company, and our website is the way that we do that in this digital world. So let me know if you have any questions. You can add a comment below. You can hit me up through the DMs. My phone number will be somewhere, whether it's in the comment or somewhere laid over this video or in the copy above this post. But contact me if you want to have a quick conversation and see if this could be something that would benefit you as well. Thank you.